Frank Tufano has delivered the video of a lifetime for us today, because today we're gonna view a video on just how healthy Frankie truly is. Here we go, y'all.
What's up, guys? We have a somewhat interesting start to our week with some blood work and a hair mineral analysis update.
I have it normal speed because I really want to dissect all this.
It's actually been quite a while. I'm not 100% sure. I'll check later, but I'm guessing better part of a year since we've done this. I did get blood work more recently, but there was nothing irregular like 5 or 6 months ago. Unfortunately, liver enzymes did start creeping up again.
I wonder why. By the way, Frankie, if you didn't know, they're optimal ranges for the community, not based on the health of the population. So, what I want you to do is look for the actual optimal ranges through, I don't know, maybe a more like naturopathic source, like I don't know. I also think that you are very deficient in fat. You don't eat enough fat. You eat way too much carbs, and that is why your liver is up. Carbs.
And although they're still basically in the normal range, they are higher than last time. And my ferritin did start creeping up.
He says what the level was. And I'm just gonna say right now, my ferritin, I'm fairly certain, is above 30 now. Okay. I don't have any energy issues from that.
So even though I wasn't storing any iron in my liver for, the better part of a year.
What do you mean you weren't storing any iron in your liver? Isn't there always some amount of iron in liver? Dude, what are you taking? Whatever it is, it's affecting your brain. You need iron for your entire body. What are you talking about?
I actually did just have to go donate blood again yesterday.
Because your ferritin was higher than 30. Here, he actually says it.
Instantly felt a lot better, later on in the day. But the ferritin still wasn't that high either. It was 54 on the scale of 30 to 400, and I generally try to keep it below 30 because
What? Why would you do that? Why? I think 400 can be really high for some people. Too high. And you know what helps move the ferritin out of the body, Frankie? Fatty acids. The proper cholesterol ratios. And you're not taking in the foods that will give you the actual proper cholesterol ratios. So you have the wrong cholesterol in your body, and therefore you are not able to move extra iron out of your body. I know this because I watched a podcast of Ivor Cummins. He had somebody on his show that he was talking with about high iron. And Ivor even said that when he went high-fat keto, his ferritin actually fell 300 points. It was about 500 or so. And he said it fell to 200 and something. So almost 300 points. Units. So, this is a lot simpler than it Then you're making it out to be, Frankie. It's way more simple than this.
If the ferritin stays at a static amount, that means that the body is not storing excess iron.
You didn't need to donate blood. You're in no condition to donate blood. You have no... I don't care if you said you felt better. That's probably placebo effect right there. Because I don't feel better because I feel better. My situation is different. I'm very self-conscious, right? So I do try to give it a few days before I truly feel, because I want to be sure that I'm not just thinking it, faking it, or whatever. Placebo effect is in full swing right here.
But as soon as it starts creeping up at all, that means more iron, more metals in the body, which is more overall tissue stress.
Dude, I had those iron infusions. My iron level was 27. And that's millimoles. My ferritin was 112. I had... How do I explain this? I yawn too, but I'm not tired because of my diet, people. I think it's the weather. But anyways, I digress. So I had a lot more of an appetite. I had a lot more energy. I had a lot more stamina. Yes, it didn't treat all the other thousands of deficiencies I probably had. But hey, it helped a lot. It really did. My ferritin was 112. Frankie, you're not eating the proper diet for humanity. The proper diet for all humanity should be a carnivore diet. Or mostly. And that's not what you're doing. Not sorry.
So maybe we only have to donate blood like 2 or 3 times a year now.
By the way, you sounded like you had a lot more spunk to you when you were carnivore. Now you just sound all down and miserable and slow. You don't sound like your brain is even working at all.
Now, instead of as frequently as possible. And quite a bit more to discuss on the hair mineral analysis. If you guys are unfamiliar with this, they can basically test your tissue for static mineral levels that are pretty accurate. I'll link that below if you guys are interested in it. But the main difference this time is instead of doing the hair, we're doing the nails and toenails, which is a bit more accurate over a longer period of time. You're not going to get as extreme results, especially if you're supplementing or making dietary changes in the nails as you would with the hair. Because if I just start pounding magnesium and shave my head every week and start testing, the levels are going to be all over the place. So the reason that these look a bit different than last time is partially because of that. So still not really in balance, but we're making progress.
They're never going to be in balance. Not with the diet you're doing, Frankie. You would have been a lot better if you stayed on high-fat carnivore. High-fat carnivore. You ruined any progress you could have had with your energy, with your endurance, with anything, because you don't eat fat.
So the calcium went from 18 to 47, which is most likely tissue related, the difference in switching from the hair to the nails. Same with the magnesium, we went from 1.6 to 11.5. So that looks way better than last time. Sodium and potassium are still a bit elevated. So, we're trying to take small amounts of magnesium and calcium to eventually balance that out, because that is the goal here. In order to be as healthy as possible and take as much stress off the liver, we want to have a balanced amount of all the minerals as low as possible.
Frankie, I think you're in deficiency range right now. I don't think you're borderline normal. I really don't. I don't. I really think you are deficient. You have iron overload because it's a genetic adaptation for going long periods of time without proper nourishment. Iron gives your body that energy, that fuel. I almost envy it, to be honest, because I have the opposite problem. I don't take in any iron if I don't eat the proper food. Although, that's probably a Neanderthal thing. Because I remember my dad saying that we go back as far as the Vikings. And they all lived in Nordic and Scandinavian regions, and that's where a lot of Neanderthal stuff was found as well. So I probably have, genetics from the Neanderthals in that we don't have that adaptation because we don't even have grains. They're not native, right? So we didn't eat seeds and grains, and if we did, it really wasn't that much, and it wasn't all the time. So I don't know where your genetics are from, but I don't know how far back they would go, but I think I have the oldest DNA you could possibly have, because we don't have any adaptations. I don't have any adaptations for going for long periods of time without eating. I don't really have that, because if I did, I probably would be able to store certain things in excess until I could get proper nourishment and then bring them back down with the cholesterol intake. But I don't have that at all. I don't convert anything from plants at all. I'm a Neanderthal, man. I'm a Neanderthal. Because I don't digest anything from plants. I get nothing out of them. They do nothing for my health. Nothing. I haven't seen any benefit from them whatsoever. Not one. They help with maybe, I don't know, clearing out my system when I have a cold, and if you can hear, my nose is stuffed up today. I'm not sure if it's something I'm doing or what, but oh goodness. I'm gonna take this off while I talk. I think I'm overheating myself somehow. That's off. But it's hot in here today. It was cold this morning, so I put the sweater on. Anyways, what I was saying was, I don't digest anything from plants. The iron that I take in has to be from animal products or even liver, because I don't digest anything. The only time plants benefit me even slightly is if I have a cold and need relief, for my throat. So sage tea, for example, that relieves it. It doesn't cure it. It doesn't, but it helps relieve me temporarily. And we don't need to, I, in particular, I don't benefit from taking in fiber. My bowels work exactly the same whether I take in fiber or not. I'm stocked up either way. I find that I'm not as stocked up if I try to move around more because of my anemia. I kind of got into this slump where even now, like, I don't move around nearly as much. And so, yeah, I have the energy to move, but I just don't want to, when I was a kid, I was running around a lot and I pooped every day, at least once, right? So, yeah, you have that genetic adaptation. I don't know where those genes come from. Probably more like Asia. But I'm like very North Europe, like Northern Europe, far north. So I don't have these genes at all. There were Neanderthals in Asia, but I think that's probably more a Denisovan thing. Because some of us even, they can find trace amounts of Denisovan DNA in humans today. So I rhymed. Haha. Anyways, I'm rambling.
We want to basically hover above deficiency because the less
You're in deficiency, Frankie. You're in deficiency. I'm sorry, but I'm also not sorry.
things that are in your body, the easier you're going to be able to function, but you still want to make sure you're giving your body everything it needs. What's new is that copper and zinc have gone down a bit. Copper is 0.4 from 1.3, so I'm definitely going to supplement copper today and tomorrow. That could be affecting my sleep because copper is very important for histamine, and I've noticed that.
High-fat carnivore, Frankie. Everything will start to shift back into their proper levels. I guarantee you. High fat, high fat, high fat. I can't emphasize it enough. High fat, high fat, high fat. I'm doing Freely's clappy thing. Yes, high fat.
That like when drinking the water kefir or having larger meals, the heart palpitations are kind of intense, so I might be lacking on.
You have heart palpitations too? You never mentioned that. I don't watch a whole heck of a lot of your videos anyway, though, so. Because you're not that interesting, to be brutally honest. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Not looking good here, buddy. This is awful.
On the copper, the zinc sunk down a little bit. Phosphorus went up, and it's important to note that just because a mineral is high doesn't mean you actually have too much of it in your diet. It could mean you're taking not enough or too much of other minerals that's throwing everything out of whack. Like in the case of the copper and the zinc, they might be depleted because I took too much magnesium. It's hard to say.
Frankie, I want to know your actual iron level as well. Not just the ferritin, but I want to know your iron level, okay? I want to know it. What is your iron level? I need to know this.
Iron is about the same.
Oh, and I just realized, I know there's a lot of Irish people that do have this high iron issue. But there could be some traces as far back as like Africa and Asia, maybe. Possibly in their DNA. That's what I'm assuming. I mean, I could be wrong about this. Because Africa and Asia, they had specific seasons where, they would eat some things, but then they wouldn't have access to them at other times of the year. And they had like grains and stuff out in Africa and Asia, right? So even though Irish people are like people in Europe, Northern Europe, is it northern? I'm not really sure. I know like Scotland and those places are more north, but They're in the UK, so I would assume it's all the same. Anyways, so like, I know I could just Google, but I could like, I'm wondering if it traces back to like years and years and years ago from Africa and Asia. So I'm really starting to wonder if I have some Neanderthal DNA somewhere. But what's interesting is my brother, he has high iron. Now, I don't know about his ferritin levels, but it's, I don't know. Maybe I got more of a dose of like I don't know. I don't know why my brother would have high iron, but you can have high iron and low ferritin. If your ferritin level is high, that's where you want to like, because then it means you're storing more iron too. I don't know. Maybe I just have more of the Neanderthal DNA than the rest of my family might, because, you know. But it could just be too that those genes haven't fully developed because I'm not mature enough. I wasn't mature enough when I was born. Some processes just weren't. So maybe maybe my family does have that high iron capabilities, but I don't have that in me but then again, my great aunt also has that. So I'm really like, did anybody who kind of knows more about this stuff, let me know, because I feel like it's more of a Neanderthal thing to have no way of storing iron and keeping iron. If you don't eat it, you're like basically done. Like, you have to eat your carnivore diet or you are screwed, basically.
We didn't donate blood really, so the manganese has went down a little bit, so maybe it was a bit on the high side last time, but it's balancing out. Chromium don't really care too much about. Selenium about the same. We haven't really been taking it much. Boron shot down quite a bit from 0.14 to 0.03, so that's probably another supplemental thing with the hair where it was just high because we were supplementing it at the time. Cobalt's about the same, don't care that much. Molybdenum, again, was probably high from the supplementing and it has gone down a bit. But what shot down significantly is sulfur, and that's probably because minerals like molybdenum that I was taking are antagonistic to sulfur. So now the sulfur is actually pretty depleted. So in order to get the sulfur levels back up, since my diet is already super high in meat, we basically just have to stop supplementing the antagonistic minerals to sulfur.
You know what you also need to do, Frankie, is to stop eating all these carbs, because the carbs are what's bumping up your liver enzymes. And what you need to start doing is replacing it with more fat, more fat, more fat, more fat. More. Not less, more. Okay? Let's just get back to the full critique and just say, you are not doing the diet right. You can't do this right. There's no way you can do this diet right. You have to go carnivore. High-fat carnivore.
So overall, all I'm really going to do is take a little copper supplementation over the next month, maybe a few times, and keep the magnesium consistent, and then we'll see if things balance themselves back out. If not, we might have to do a little bit of the other minerals here and there, but we're getting close. You know, the calcium, magnesium are looking a little better. We messed up on the zinc copper stuff, but hopefully this next hair mineral analysis we're even more balanced. Toxic elements have gone down. You know, they were never really that significant in the first place, but since we stopped having the canned beans and some processed foods, and especially since we stopped the burger reviews, arsenic went down, mercury only a little bit.
Wait, the what? Let me go back.
Canned beans and some processed foods, and especially since we stopped the burger reviews.
Did he say burger abuse? What? What does he mean?
Arsenic went down, mercury only a little bit, cadmium only a little bit. Again, we never really had much in the first place. And the aluminum went from 2.8 to 0.7. So there's definitely a difference in the dietary improvements and like switching to packaged beans instead of canned beans and just more glass jarred stuff. The additional elements, we don't really care that much until they start getting really out of whack, so there's not much to focus on there. And then the ratios and the toxic ratios, we already touched on what we're adjusting and what we're trying to fix. So, it's really nice to get this every few months to see kind of what you're slipping up on, because you might think you're fixing deficiencies, but you could be creating more deficiencies and making things more extreme.
Oh, that wouldn't happen to be because you're not eating the proper human diet, would it? Would it? There is a species appropriate diet, Frankie. You don't know what that is, do you? Huh? You don't know what that is, do you? Do you? You don't know what the proper human diet is, do you? Wouldn't happen to be all meat, would it? Or mostly? Huh. And it wouldn't happen to be high-fat meat, would it? I wonder.
And in the context of my diet, where I'm eating pretty high copper plant foods like potatoes and mushrooms almost every day.
Oh, by the way, you can get copper toxicity from inorganic copper. In particular, certain plant foods and your water sources. I know you're more cautious about your water, but I'm just saying.
It also goes to show the importance of supplementing and making sure you're getting highly bioavailable.
I don't think the bioavailable copper is in that supplement. By the way, I think it's the toxic kind, and you could get super duper sick.
Minerals that are easy to digest. And the suggestions from this website, this company, some of them are accurate, some of them are not. Obviously they told me to take copper. They told me to take some metabolic and digestive support stuff, but the supplements they recommend are kind of snake oil-ish. And then they say to take a vitamin E supplement, but I've never found any significant research showing vitamin E can actually be supplemented. It's more about optimizing the body's antioxidant processes.
Oh. High fat also helps with vitamin E because vitamin A, D, E, K. Right? That's all in fat. That's all in fat. Guess what you're not eating, Frankie? Fat. So, if you were to eat lots of fat, lots and lots of fat-soluble vitamins, A, D3, E, and K2, you'd get them all. Okay.
Now, my guess here is my diet did not have enough bioavailable copper.
Ding, ding, ding! And guess what else you're doing? You're taking in tons of anti-nutrients, phytochemicals, phytates, oxalates, all that stuff. You're not absorbing anything. Okay? You're fixing to have your ferritin go up again, buddy.
To regulate all of the iron, and since the copper in the diet was probably high enough, maybe the magnesium and some of the other minerals I was supplementing depleted my body of copper. So iron regulation went down, liver started storing iron again, and that's where you start getting histamine.
Every organ in your body needs all the minerals to some extent. Do you want to know why most liver is high in iron? That is why. Do you want to know why liver is high in vitamin A? That is why. Do you want to know why liver is high in magnesium, potassium, all these other things? Copper. That is why. Your body needs all of them.
Histamine issues, heart palpitations, some sleeping problems from the extra iron on the liver plus the copper deficiency. So again, I donated blood yesterday already.
Yeah. And not going to help you, buddy, because in the long run, you're just going to make it worse by eating this crap diet of carbs.
You feel a lot better. So we'll see if the copper supplementation over the next few weeks kind of
pills and carbs, pills and carbs, pills and carbs all day.
Knocks things back into place. We also did a health update video some months ago where I explained, how much longer this is going to take me to fully heal. So, we're guessing another 2 or 3 years of.
No. Excuse me. I started healing my deficiencies. Freaking what? Like. 6 months on the carnivore diet. 6 freaking months. What? Keto, rather, but it was meat based, protein and fat based keto. It had like all the micro and macronutrients. What? 2 to 3 years. I can't. I can't.
Kind of monitoring this and being really careful about it, and then hopefully we're feeling a lot better. Although compared to how I felt years ago with the liver damage, I'm miles ahead. I'm feeling so much better. And
No, you didn't have liver damage, you carb addicted, pill addicted, whatever. You had low energy due to rabbit starvation. It's a real thing. Look it up. And all of you out there avoiding fat completely or almost completely, look up rabbit starvation. It is a real thing. Okay? I don't care what your body looks like in the long run. If you look anorexic, clearly you're not taking in enough fat. If you're fat but struggling with cravings, that could mean you're not taking in enough fat. I mean, it could also mean you're not taking in enough electrolytes too, but I don't agree with this no fat nonsense. Because it's nonsense. So, fat. Lots of fat. Hello?
We're just kind of slowly creeping back towards, optimal health every day. But you guys can go to that website that I linked down below if you'd like to purchase your own hair mineral analysis. We have supplements and all different types of things available on all of my other businesses.
Dude, you don't sound like you've outgrown puberty, so you have no knowledge of any kind as it pertains to nutrition. Just saying! You were doing so good, except for the no fat.
That will help you improve your health and balance things out. Whether it's having a high vitamin and mineral diet from Frankie's Strange Meat, some probiotic water kefir stuff on Frankie's free range foods to help the liver keep moving, things function.
Listen to how depleted he is! Oh my lord! He's depleted in so much. He's way too low in a lot of things. Way too low. This is not optimal for your body, Frankie. It's not.
We even have, the Wi-Fi shielding clothing is super important for protecting the body and making sure you're absorbing nutrients, and actual minerals are available on organsupplements.com. But there's really so much stuff, guys. So be sure to check out frank-stefano.com to look through all my interesting products on those businesses. But if you guys could please drop a like on the video, leave a comment down below.
What did he say? It sounded like he messed up a word there. Let me look.
Be sure to check out frank-stefano.com to look through all my interesting products on those businesses.
He did mess up a word, but I'm not sure even what word it was supposed to be. Businesses? I think it was supposed to be businesses. You can't even talk and you don't even realize that you're saying words wrong. At least I acknowledge when I say words wrong. I acknowledge my mistakes in my sentences 99% of the time. There have been like the odd occasion where I mess up in a video. But by the way, the commenter who said that in one of my other videos that the vegan guy looked anorexic? Because I've heard from people that he actually does. He doesn't look well at all, right? So, and I feel like the beginnings of anorexia are you look sick and you just your complexion is off and you're just like, dude, I think if you can get your complexion right at least, then you're on the right track. But I don't know, anorexia is a thing with veganism. It's a thing. It really, really is. I don't care. Anorexia, looking anorexic doesn't mean, it's not me saying they're actually anorexic, but a lot of vegans do look anorexic. There are a few obese ones, but I'm pretty sure I've even heard from other people that he was anorexic. So he looked anorexic anyway. So I'm pretty sure he's anyways. Now, Frankie's going to end up on the other side of the spectrum. He's going to lose he could lose weight though, because the iron being high like that, it means it's a starvation mechanism. It gives you similar symptoms to anemia, except you get nervous energy. Like nervous energy. It's weird. It's bad. You Frankie, this is not healthy for you. So he's just advertising his stuff now, and dude, I don't think you're doing yourself any favors by depleting your body of actual nutrition through eating your carbs, and toxic pills, by the way. Toxic. They do nothing. Nothing. You need to eat high-fat carnivore. High freaking fat. Carnivore. It helps everybody, regardless if you have the high iron issue or the low iron issue. I really think that this high iron issue could actually stem from like African descent more so. Although maybe it's in the Neanderthal DNA as well, but I don't know. Maybe my mom has DNA from the African side. Maybe that's where Eric got it, an Asian. And maybe my dad has DNA from the Neanderthal side, and that's where I got mine. So, because Eric has a my brother, he has a very, very high iron, right? And I have very, very low iron if I don't eat enough. If I eat mostly plants, I don't convert any of it. Like, we're from like Scandinavia, like the Nordic people. We're like, you know, and my brother, we're all from the same people, but he might have, my mom's family, they're from like I would say France and places like that. England and around those regions. But then even further back, they could probably go as far as Africa and Asia. Right? So they might be European when you go back, say, 1600s, right? But I'm talking before the dawn of time, before time was actually created. Before we invented like years and stuff. I mean, we didn't invent years, but until we had the concept of like how years worked and how all this, you know. But anyways, that's my view on everything. I hope you enjoyed this. And Frankie, you're destroying yourself. You are. Yeah. I hope you found this video useful too. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys. Carbs. Sorry.